Welcome to Conflict in the Realms, the Dragon's Secret, where secrets lie hidden and ancient powers stir beneath the surface. Follow Katlyn and her friends as they face mysteries older than time, enemies with dark motives and powers they can barely control. Ready to dive into a world where dragons, demons, and magic are just the beginning? Stay tuned as our story unfolds. If you two can't stop growling at each other for 5 seconds, I'm finding duct tape. 2 sets of annoyed eyes turned to stare at me, but I raised my brow and waited to see what they would do. My head throbbed, my body was sore, and I was anxious as hell. I rolled my shoulders again, feeling the beast moving freely within me now. On some level, it was cool, knowing a dragon lived within me. On the other hand, it freaked me out. How was I supposed to function with this thing inside me all the time? Each time my anger flared, I sensed it wanting to break through and take control. But if I destroyed Mama Lucy's house, pretty sure she'd kick my ass for it. Harry, the big shaggy dog, was still hanging around and sat on his haunches close by, resting his head comfortingly on my leg. I'd been absently scratching his ears for the past few hours. It helped keep me calm somewhat.
If one of us was being cooperative, there'd be no need for growling, Craig murmured.
A deep rumble came from Forrest's chest, and we both eyed him. It cut off suddenly, and he lifted his hands. The manacles and chains holding him captive rattled, echoing his disdain. Are these necessary? I am a prince, and you, Katlyn, are in no danger from me. Ah, but you see, that means Craig is, and right now I'm on his side. You should not be. So you're saying I should blindly follow a guy I just met?
Dragon, he corrected.
I ground my teeth, digging my nails into my thigh. Dragon I just met, one who, by the way, has already said any bearing my name are traitors and deserve to die. And what? Go back with you to meet your daddy, who by all rights will be pissed by the fact that 1, I'm a Dara, and 2, that I've chained his son up. I shook my head, my hair wild around my face as I tried to restrain it in a braid, mostly to keep my hands from reaching out and strangling Forrest. No thanks, I'll pass. Harry harumphed as if in agreement and trotted away to stare out the front window. Forrest's hands fell to his lap as he looked on, torn between annoyance and defeat. I blame you. Craig pointed at himself with a mockingly surprised look on his face. Me? And why do you blame me? You're the one that said plain as day what you do to Daras. I would, of course, plead her case to my father. She didn't know who she was. Plead her case? Wow, aren't you a hero? Craig snapped, scooting closer to me, almost protectively. During our time in the burnt world, I had to say I found reasons to find both of them attractive, but I told myself my emotions ran high in the heat of the moment. Feeling anything besides aggravation at both of them should have been impossible in that moment. But when Craig stepped closer again, as if ready to bodily put himself between me and Forrest, a little thrill shot through me, and my dragon practically purred in delight. All right, can we please get back to figuring out who my family is or was? I checked the door to the living room, but Mama Lucy hadn't come back yet. She'd taken the kids to a neighbor's until we decided our next move. I don't know what you want from me. Forrest rested his head back against the wall and closed his eyes. I have told you everything I was told. I can't make myself remember something I don't know. There has to be more. I tossed my braid over my shoulder and held my head, willing the throbbing to stop, at least for a few minutes, so I could think. How long ago was the last sighting of my family? Forrest shrugged. 50 years, give or take. 50 years? That couldn't be my dad then. He wasn't that old when he died. Yes, but dragons and demons, all non-humans, we live longer, he pointed out. I lifted my head at his words and frowned between the two of them. So you two are old? Craig barked a growling laugh. No, I'm 20, soon to be 21, which I hear can be quite exciting in the human world. Yeah, means you can drink. Craig's brows drew together, giving him a brooding, cute look that made me want to reach out and smooth them back out. You can't drink yet? That's awful. Not legally. What about you? I asked Forrest, giving his foot a kick with mine when he didn't seem inclined to answer. Same. And that means my dad could have been that last dragon then, right? It's possible. Do you have a picture of him? Craig asked, but I was already shaking my head. Everything we owned was in the house the night it was destroyed. I couldn't help it. I glared at Forrest. His eyes narrowed, but he learned from my last outburst and didn't try to deny it was other dragons who attacked us. His name was Maddox, I whispered. Maddox Dara. Forrest's Adam's apple bobbed, and he suddenly seemed very interested in the floorboards. What? I snapped. Huh? I didn't say anything. You didn't have to. Craig pushed off the couch and towered over him. You know that name. I can see it in your eyes. He sniffed in answer and refused to look up. Craig took a threatening step forward, but I caught his hand. No. If he wants to be an ass, then let him. We don't have time for this. I expected Craig to ignore me and grab Forrest by the throat and give him a good shake, but after a moment he resumed his seat. If Forrest won't confirm it, then I need your help. You saved my life. Pretty sure I owe you. You need her! Forrest snarled, his rage boiling over as smoke trailed from his nose. That's the only reason you're still here. I'm still here, Craig seethed through clenched teeth, because I'm working to stop that plague from spreading. The one you said you didn't believe existed until it attacked you and nearly killed us all. Katlyn here is the key to stopping it, so yes, I need her. My head gave another fierce throb as the weight of his words struck me like I was fighting that plagued beast again, and I cringed. All that matters now is stopping that thing from taking over another world, and to do that, we have to work together. I rubbed at my wrist, needing to find another bracelet soon so I could have something to fiddle with again. And if anyone gets to have a freak-out, pissed-off moment, it's me! I jumped up and paced around the living room, rubbing my temples in a frantic attempt to get the pain to leave me alone. Harry gave me a sympathetic whine, but remained at the window. I'd asked Mama Lucy about him before she left with the kids, but she hadn't figured out whose dog he was yet, or if he was a dog at all. She'd mumbled something about a familiar, then left it at that. I didn't really care. I liked Harry, and Harry was a pretty good watchdog. He'd keep Mama Lucy safe. What did your dad look like? Craig asked. I shut my eyes tight as my feet paused. He was tall, really tall and broad at the shoulders, but he was graceful for a man. Memories floated through my mind, more of what I'd forgotten. How he helped me learn to use a sword. He was the one that taught me how to use a sword. His hair was black like mine, but his eyes were amber. Craig cursed quietly under his breath. I did see him. What? When? I asked, desperately praying it was recent and he was alive. Years ago, at the games. I'm sorry. I was maybe 7? Snuck out so I could watch the fighting, and there was a Dara dragon there. He said he was 20 and I was going to be 18 soon. 4 years before he was killed, I whispered, and that was the last time he was seen. As far as I recall, Craig told me, he just disappeared. Forrest adjusted his position, suddenly looking uncomfortable. Tell me what you know, I pleaded. Please, Forrest, this is my family we're talking about. I deserve to know the truth. Forrest chewed his bottom lip so hard, I thought he would bleed. You're going to hate me more than you already do. I don't hate you, I corrected. I don't exactly trust you to act rashly. The beast within me lifted her head and growled quietly, but Forrest opened his mouth, and the words sounded forced out of his throat. I was there. At the games, Craig was, and I saw the same fighter. We all did. He took a deep breath and closed his eyes. Everyone assumed the Daras were gone. Those that weren't wiped out fled, and we did not hunt them down, as long as they gave us no trouble. But then a dragon fighter showed up to the games, and the moment he started fighting, everyone knew exactly what he was, who he was. Why would he do that? I asked softly. Why show his face? No one knew. Afterwards, he licked his lips and looked like he wasn't ready to keep going, but he wasn't going to stop, not now. Tell me, I demanded, voice thick with emotion. I sensed what was coming, but I had to hear it. I overheard my father ordering our men to track Maddox Dara down and bring him in. After what you told me, it's safe to assume your father was not going to come willingly. My gut twisted and I felt sick as I hurried to back away. Growling sounded in the room, and I realized it was me. My vision blurred, and the beast was ready to break free and scorch this murderous traitor until he was nothing but bone. The rational side of my mind reminded me my fire wouldn't burn him, but the dragon in me said it was still worth a try. Craig called my name, but he seemed so far away. I shook my head, but the growling intensified. I wanted to be free. I wanted to soar over the clouds. I wanted to burn the town to the ground so they could feel my pain. The door slid open to the living room, the banging drawing my attention. Mama Lucy was there, and she rushed towards me. Her lips moved, but I heard nothing she said. Her fingertips touched my forehead, and I was floating in blissful darkness, the dragon curling back up in a tight ball, watchful, but at peace. For now. Thanks for joining us in this world where anything can happen and nothing is as it seems. Katlyn's journey is just beginning, and the next twist could change everything. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for updates. You won't want to miss what's coming next. See you soon.